Tomb of Sand by Geetanjali Shree. Translated by Daisy Rockwell.
Part 3. Back to the front. Chapter 4. The road observes two women alight upon its surface, and off they go. The road has seen many stories pass along it. Some trample, some hop. The road has traversed centuries, twisting and twirling like a river, wandering from this country to that. It has known the laughter of humans, understood their haste, seen many fearful sights that flow through its veins like blood. It must have been offended when so much dust rose up that the green of the trees grazing its edges could barely peek through the layers of brown and gray, and the waters of the nearby spring, in which fireflies twinkled on summer nights, flowed red, a reflection not of the rising and setting sun, but of the bloodshed of days gone by. Once upon a time, a riot had broken out amongst the caravans of refugees that passed along the road. And here's the thing about rioters: they celebrate beating, killing, screaming, shrieking, as though they are at festivals. Like, imagine there's this guy in Gujarat. If you ask him, "So, where are we going today?" he would answer something like, "Come on, today let's drive over to the Sabarmati river banks." And his fishy eyes dart about obscenely as he pulls apart a hapless couple like fish with a fork. And he chortles, "Let's have us some fun." And that too is a kind of riot, embarked upon purely for sport. Whether or not the street watched, so many riots occurred here that everything got confused. Who was running to kill? Who was running from the killers? Who threatened? Who pled for mercy? Who was alive? Who was dead? And when one human saw the swords, axes, and spears charging forward to kill him, he hurriedly picked up a dead child lying in the street and swung it before him madly like a shield, hoping to be spared himself. All this was also not entirely clear, because the fleeting feet and wheels and hoofs stirred the dust until the scene swam by in a whirlwind. In the gloom of the gale, a father cut off his own daughter's head, and a husband pulled the pestle from among the pots and pans on his wife's head and beat her to death. There was deception all around, and large trunks yawned empty, whilst diamonds and pearls lay hidden in tiny bundles. The road looked on in wonderment as one man tied jewelry, money, and sparkling buttons and bars of gold into a pouch and handed it to the children in an ox cart, and whispered to them to go and hide in that tree and stay there. There were two of them, the children. They got out with their heads down and climbed into the tree, into this tree, maybe onto this branch. Maybe there were more leaves then. They went as dry and dusty then. The road must have felt maternal towards them. It forgot all the others and just gazed upon the children. One child accidentally fell from a branch, and the street and the other child both screamed as one. But thankfully, the sound was masked by the hubbub of the dust storm. The child jumped up and climbed back without even dusting himself off, as though a bear were coming for him, or as if he had left his life on the branch. After stuffing his life back in, the child laughed at his own naughtiness, or rather, he laughed because to calm him, his elder brother had motioned to him, "Don't cry. Did you see that? Ha ha!" By which he meant two men in flight, lugging an ancient woman, wrapped in a cloth and suspended from a stout pole, as though she were on a swing, so she could go swaying along as they ran. or as though they were villagers who had killed a hyena and brought it back to the village hanging from a pole. The children must be forgiven for their laughter, as they were at the laughing playing age. But when the two men flung the woman swinging from the pole onto the road and ran off, the children did not laugh. For a long time, the children crouched in that very tree, meaning this very tree, holding on to one another. They shrank back as they watched, their innocent eyes not knowing or understanding what was unfolding along the road. The road was, of course, a road. It hardly had the power to direct what went on. It continued to lie there, mute, but it too had veins, had age, felt emotions such as joy and sorrow. Its long form wound on continuously for a great distance. If you tapped on it many miles away, the sound would echo here. Because a street or road is a silver river, the river of life, as an English writer has dubbed it. And like a river, it has neither head nor tail. Where is its beginning? Where is its ending? This too is a giddy confusion. If we stand at the end, then this is the beginning. And if we stand somewhere else, then it begins from there. And who is to stop it continuing on and on? But such matters all precede the days of the bomb. At least back then, it seemed as though the road would keep getting longer, would keep on twisting, meandering, mosaic, horses, camels, mules, feet, whoever, whatever walked upon it, giving it a festive air. Shady trees line its banks, which are dotted along the way with ponds, and many inns where one could relax if one had traveled from afar. Sing, play, music, if you wish, take a nap, fill your belly. But please, oh please, stop all this brawling and battling, this murder and mayhem. If you're going to stamp on me and kill me, I might get wounded too, and I do. And those two kids, how long will they dangle from that tree? But the cries were not prepared to stop. Run here, run there, one on top of the other. Amidst all the bloodshed, an extremely old man sat silent in the middle of the road, hands clasped in a prayer. He was praying with the road. Please, oh please, make it stop. Or perhaps he was sitting there dead, his hands lifted in prayer. Just then the smaller child fell from the tree again. This time someone caught sight of him and ran towards him, weapon raised. Run, screamed the tree, and the child rushed hither and thither, and the bullets came pow, pow, but not one hit him. But as though his younger brother's life was his own, the elder jumped down from the tree as well and ran after him, screaming, "Leave him alone! Leave my brother alone!" And now one bullet hit the younger brother and felled him. When the elder brother reached his side, another rioter lifted his knife to kill him. But just then the rioter that had shot the younger brother arrived as well. "Leave this one alone," he said. "Why?" asked the man with the knife. "I'll take him," said the guy with the gun. He scooped the child. Where did he go? What happened? Who knows? But the road must have recognized Rahat Sahib many years later when he came and collapsed under his very tree. The bullets were long gone, but his face was buried in the road. The road listened to his breathing and sobbing for a long time. Chapter 5. Who knows if the women noticed the road or it noticed them as they walked along with Rahat Sahib. Rahat Sahib was fond of the road. "Come, let's take a stroll along the banks of the canal," he said. "The weather's lovely, and you will feel refreshed." Ma also enjoyed the road, strolling beneath the trees, speaking of the twinkling of fireflies in the canal in days gone by. Betty had to laugh. Amma had certainly learned well from Rosie. She seemed to know all about what had twinkled here. Such enthusiasm, and at her age. It made her own relative youth look weak. Betty laughed and thought she would tell KK, "Don't you think youth comes at the wrong time? When we haven't lived at all. It comes and then it's gone, and we don't even notice. It should come in old age, after we have had all our experiences. Then we understand desire and enthusiasm. The finer points of youth bring joy. One understands." Rahat Sahib was walking ahead with Ma when she leaned down and touched the road with her hand. Ma was so small that the road was quite close. That is, it rose to meet her, as if to say, "Here, go ahead, touch." And she reached out a finger to touch it. Ancient rock is not just stone. The souls of ancestors slumber within. The first human would have laid his hand upon it, and this sensation trembles in your finger when you touch it. You too feel like you are the first human, just recently created by God. The women fell silent. They stopped for a moment. The small woman wiped the faces of the leaves that bowed down from the branches of the tree. She didn't seem fatigued anymore. Rather, Betty suspected that Ma was drawing Rosie down into herself. Now that she had paid her debt and carried out the wishes of her dear departed caregiver friend, she was getting filled with rosy power. Rahat Sahib watched from the corner of his eye. He smiled. "You don't look tired anymore. There's spring in your step beneath these trees." Filled with delight, he meant. "Hope I become a myna or a sparrow, that I should start hopping about." The small woman laughed. "It's Rosie," thought the bigger woman. "She has brought you here." The bigger woman felt anxious. How had Rosie hypnotized Ma so that she continued to live on in her, even after her death? It was thanks to her that Ma was becoming unmaish, mercurial, got the notion of going to the most difficult country stuck in her head. How alone I have become. "A boat, Appa, a boat. You are becoming a boat, drifting about as though this is not a road, but a river, swaying. This is why Kipling called it the river of life in Kim. Ah, you are just putting a kind spin on the vicissitudes of old age, nothing more." Then the road lurched or swayed. Ma twirled. The road hopped. Ma hopped. "Oh, ho, 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 ho!" Betty grabbed her. "Why are you walking like this? You're not even holding your cane properly." "Like a queen," said Rahat Sahib, laughing lightly. "On the royal road, the Sadak-e-Azam, the Shah-Rah-e-Azam." "It's a very ancient road," said the growing bigger woman, "just because." "Very. Chandragupta Maurya repaired it. Sher Shah Suri lengthened it. Amazing, all the history has melted into the surface of the road," said Betty, just because. Rahat Sahib's eyes remained wise. "This road spans 2,500 kilometers. It sees ahead and behind," he said. "Like serious eyes that see both ahead and behind," said no one. "It sees countries that are no longer, caravans of refugees, tongas, bullock carts, trucks, blood, smoke, glass, gold, pus, riots, refugees, dried fruit, and nuts." Rahat Sahib's eyes see forward and back too. He stops by a tree, a huge shady tree, full of many birds, as many as there are inhabitants in the two countries. The light of the sun filtering through the network of leaves and branches. Above the network, the Lahori sky. He looks with seriousness as though wishing to know where to throw the net. Lahore's rising sun sparkles in his eyes. He places a hand on Beti's head. You belong to a different generation. Ma begins to tell Rahat Sahib some names and addresses. Rosie took care of all the arrangements, thought Beti, standing apart, or finding herself apart. She begins to read what is written on the nearby signpost. Lahore Delhi Road. The road knows no restrictions whether it goes this way or that. It needn't go through the bother of visas, says Rahat Sahib. Everyone starts laughing. What else can they do? Chapter 6. And Amma was in a hurry to visit Lahore. When she said, "We'll visit the inner city," Betty again marveled at how well Rosie had taught her before sending her here. There was now a light chill in the air even during the day. Ma wore a shawl over her embroidered abaya. After having a nice breakfast with tea on the lawn at Faleti's, the three of them set out. "We'll see the city," said Ma. Then she produced an address. "We'll go there too, to deliver the chironji." As Rahat Sahib showed them around Lahore, he told them about all the sights. "We'll go wherever you wish. The car is yours. Lahore is yours." He enjoyed Ma taking them from place to place and crying out like an eager tourist, "Let's see this, let's do this. We'll climb the minaret of Wazir Khan Mosque and look at the view." Amma climbed up, huffing and pausing, and beheld Lahore outspread below. She used to look, she said, as though lost in memory. "She died, poor thing," said Beti, thinking of Rosie as well, and took a picture with her mobile. "We'll see Lahore Fort. She liked wandering there," said Ma. They saw it. "We'll see Badshahi Mosque." They saw it. "We'll go to the Ravi." They went. "How it has dried up," said Ma, as though speaking of an old acquaintance. "Lahore is green, but where has the water gone?" She mused. "She used to come here often," she said, as though remembering. This too must be a quality of friendship forged in old age, and with whomever it is forged, be it human or jinn or animal, one feels pleasure only in that friend's company. And even after that company no longer remains, the pleasure lives on. Thus did Beatty keep up a continuous train of pop psychology musings. Okay, so this is what they were chattering about as they sat on the balcony of my home and at the tomb across the way, Ma and Rosie. They were cooking up a Pakistani khichda. Rosie would tantalize Ma with her knowledge and tell her, "I'll take you with me, and you'll see this. I'll show you that." When Ma came to my house, she began to dream new dreams. She began to think, "Yes, I'll go to Pakistan. Now Rosie is no more, so I'll take Ma. I'll show her what Rosie would have shown her. But her Amma sure has done her homework. She has memorized the whole list of things that must be seen." Amma said, "We'll go to Montgomery Hall," and she learned it had become a library and was now called a Qaid-e-Azam Hall. Then she said, "Where is Lawrence Garden and Tollington Market?" "Then let's go to Mochi Darwaza and Mochi Bagh." Then, "Oh my, how has this dried up so?" Rosie must have told her it was lovely and green. This is where the political leaders give their speeches and the children play cricket. But there are some attempts to make it into a park, said Rahat Sahib. The shops too. It seemed there were shops on her rosy list, which they absolutely must visit. They looked the same as on our site, as did the goods: dried fruit, plastic containers and bottles, spicy foods, everything you find in Karol Bagh or Chandni Chowk. But within Ma is Rosie, and through their 4 eyes, all is new, unique. Then she said, "We'll get khatais from that store. They make great ones." Marching to the beat of Rosie's experiences, each aspiration, each thrill is redolent with Rosie. Each step fulfills a desire that left behind. Now Betty watches with curiosity. It is as if Ma has turned into Rosie herself. Who is now showing us? And Rahid Sahib too, the city of Lahore. Now Ma is walking ahead, the two of them behind. The tock tock of her cane. Rosie whispers into Ma's ear, "Now turn right, now left," and Ma turns. Cycles, scooters, the coming and going of beggars too, and amidst all these, Beti and Rahid Sahib under the leadership of Ma. In Anarkali, Ma says, "She bought everything from Bano Bazaar." When they reach there, she says, "I don't remember exactly." How much is a person supposed to remember of what they have been told, what they have heard? "No problem," Betty consoled her. "Let's go." "Yes, let's go," said Ma, agreeing to drink tea at a dhaba. They must drink tea at a dhaba in the corner in Anarkali. "She used to drink tea here," she said. She must be pushing herself to remember what Rosie told her. That's why she's examining the whole area. "That dhaba," she points. Had she recognized it or decided that must be the one? Shree and Rahat discuss things. Names and addresses written on paper re-emerge. Betty is surveying the gloss and gleam of Anarkali. She has already checked out a few shops herself, bought herself a pair of sandals, some jewelry, a chenille suit, an ashtray for KK, some ornate candlesticks, and a carved hook for hanging your keys. She hears the words, "Delegate, Surjan Singhali." How fortunate is Rosie. She wanted to give someone some chironji, couldn't do it, and beneficent Ma took it upon her own shoulders, and I took Ma on mine. Let's go, can't be that hard. Even the Rosie is in it as well. I am the one making it happen. "Tusi us par to aaye." You have come from that side, the shopkeeper says in Punjabi. He serves them free pakoras. Chapter 7. When they arrived in Surjan Singhali, Betty notices Ma's eyes shut tight. She stands still at a deli gate. If you want to look at a map etched in your mind's eye, you must close your eyes. Or if you need to consult with the spirit that has journeyed by your side. Ma is talking to Rosie, though it looks like she's just talking to herself. Is it to the left? Shahi Hammam? The bazaar is up ahead. The men sipping tea from china saucers in the gully. They walk on ahead slowly. Old tumble-down homes, naked wires hang suspended. Above the tangle of wires, below the tangle of lanes, pigeons fly, cats appear. Ma keeps talking, as though explaining to the spirit where it is, what it is. Inlaid, etched. If the spirit agrees, take the next step. A full about turn, advancing slowly into the gully, whispering with Rosie. What must the people of the gully think? The woman come from that side, talking to herself. Betty is about to interrupt, but Rahat Sahib motions to walk on quietly, as though it were normal to come across and chatter with a ghost, to become one from two. "The kite store," Ma says, and points as though she knows everything. "Where's the tree?" "Tree? What tree?" "In these narrow lanes, where you can hardly walk single file. Your elbow catches here, your foot slips into the drain there. Tree, Amma?" "The tree with the sindoor on it." Rosie, Rosie. Betty wants to feel angry, but why waste anger on the dead? And yet, what had Rosie been teaching Ma? Looking for sindoor? Here? She asked this one, asked that one. Ma does. Rahat Sahib doesn't lose patience. She has come from that side. She's a guest. Someone said, the Shia one? The Nauchandi Jumerat one? Truly, there was a tree with red tikas stuck onto it. So was Rosie Shia? Betty had never been able to tell. Ma stood there looking all about like a mad woman. Then she said, I can't find it. Let's go back to Delegate. What wasn't she finding? The addresses Rosie had given? But those were written down. Just show them to someone and they'll send us there. Or is she looking for some other tourist spot now? Does she want to see absolutely everything? But why like this? Why the searching with a retinue? Rahat Sahib brought them back to Delhi Gate. Ma stood again examining all around and then said, Don't go that way, go this way, toward that lane with the tree. Then she walked along slowly and carefully. Look at this, then this, she said, speaking to herself or to Rosie. Ma, the engine of the train, the other two compartments bringing up the rear. Now Ma began to walk with her eyes closed, as though it would somehow be clearer that way. Arre, does anyone even walk like this? Amma, Betty blurted out. Rahat Sahab pulled her back. Ma in front, eyes closed, swerves turning about, then left again, the two of them in the rear. Shutting off now, unfolding memory. Ma stopped at a flowing drain. It didn't look dirty, but it was a drain after all. Here Ma opened her eyes and watched the water a long time. She patted her body, and her hand traveled down and stopped between her legs. Softly she murmured, She used to pee in this drain when she was small and it wouldn't stop. A woman among men, pressing her hand between her legs, standing heedless beneath the Lahore sky, come from that side. Betty's ears felt hot. What sort of things had Rosie been telling Ma? She guided Ma's hand away. Ma freed her hands and gazed off into the distance, into the gullies and lanes as though she could see far off. She had a vague look about her as though she had become a two-headed river, like Rosie, that can flow both this way and that. This was the moment when the two streams met, a moment stilled in time, creating a border. She decided to enter the very narrowest lane, the walls on each side so narrow they reached out and grasped their elbows. What need for a cane here? Ma handed it to Betty. Nor any need to keep one's eyes open. So she closed them again and kept them closed. Standing, waiting. The two behind her waiting as well. Touching the walls with her hands as if to judge. Is it rough and gritty to the touch like Rosie had said it was? And to feel reassured. Same wall, right? Yes. Ma began to walk, eyes closed, hands touching the gully wall, as though she had entrusted herself to the lane, which was leading her by the hand wherever it pleased. And it carried her along. The wall grew older as they moved on. In one place there was a hole the size of a small window. Ma reached inside, then stuck her head in as well, halting there without opening her eyes. There was also a hole in the ceiling on the other side, so that if you rolled from above, you wouldn't fall. You would get stuck half up, half down. Over this lay a tarpaulin that Ma saw when she half opened her eyes. Still, she asked, addressing the hole in the ceiling. And quickly she shut her eyes so that all that appeared before them would not be extinguished. Ma stood there a few instants, as though returning to a dream. But the way she moved suddenly, as though her feet had forgotten to walk and were moving in all directions. First move one, then another. Not like that. Instead, both lifted at once to move forward together, as if fearing that one might be left behind. And if their connection broke for a second and one went alone, the other would go, like one life in two bodies. Ma ahead, hopping or running, where the wall ended in stairs and a small red stoop. Amma. Betty tried to leap forward and snatch her up, fearing she might trip. But this time Rahat Sahib pulled her back by the shoulders, quite sternly. She stared steadily at him with surprise. Ma hopped up the steps in that same way, lifting both feet at once in a state of excitement, stepped up to the red threshold, and stood at the door. A stout old door, green in color, etched with networks of cracks, fastened with a heavy iron chain. And this is her maternal home, exclaimed Ma, but in a whisper. The nameplate was not visible on the door, but there was a board fastened to it, on which it was written in Urdu, "Cricket equipment available here." Ma read out the words and rattled the chain against the door. The chain rattled this side, and at that same moment an old man emerged from a small building on the other side of the lane. A 100-year-old man, long beard, spider-webbed eyes. Daktariyane da Pind, from the doctor's family, he said, gazing at the woman, clasping the door chain. Daktariyane de aa gaye. Doctor's daughter is here, he shouted to the gully. Climbing 2 steps, he placed a hand on Ma's head as she stood on the red stoop, at which the hairpins fell from her bun and her hair tumbled down, and people began emerging into the gully from every direction to pick up the pins carefully, one by one.